April 10, 2016, a night etched in pain and memory. In the coastal town of Paravur in Kollam, Kerala, a joyous festival turned into an unimaginable tragedy. This is the story of the Puttingal fire accident, one of India's most devastating temple disasters. A disaster that was not a coincidence, but a culmination of ignored warnings, lax regulation, and deeply entrenched customs. Nestled along the Arabian Sea, Paravur was once known for its calm backwaters and temple festivals that embodied Kerala's spiritual rhythm. The Puttingal Devi Temple, dedicated to goddess Bhadrakali, was not just a place of worship, it was the pulse of the community. Every year, the Meena Bharani festival brought together thousands of devotees and spectators, drawn by the spectacular firework competition known as Matsara Kambam. Matsara Kambam, the competitive fireworks display, had over the years become a highlight not just of the Puttingal festival, but of Kerala's temple culture. Rival firework contractors would push limits to outperform each other, higher, louder, more dazzling. It was more than celebration, it was a matter of pride and spectacle. Local lore remembers each year's victor by the magnitude of sound and brilliance. But beneath the light and noise, the competition had become dangerously unregulated. Safety measures were minimal, oversight was lax, and the scale of firepower used grew steadily. Explosives, some banned under law, were stockpiled in large quantities, often stored too close to where people stood. In early April 2016, the Kollam District Administration reviewed the Puttingal Committee's application to hold a firework display. After inspection, the local authorities denied permission. The temple grounds were too close to residential areas. There was insufficient space for safe crowd separation and no formal risk assessment. But in a scenario not uncommon in India, the decision of the administration was not the final word. Community pressure, long-standing tradition, and the fear of disappointing devotees led to a dangerous workaround. Despite official denial, the fireworks went ahead. Police presence was minimal. Regulations were bypassed. The show began around midnight, as it had in previous years. From midnight onwards, two rival teams took turns launching fireworks from within the narrow temple compound. There was no perimeter secured, and the crowd, numbering in thousands, stood as close as 25 to 30 meters from the launch site. Explosives were stored in open sheds adjacent to the launch site, highly combustible materials, wrapped in plastic and stacked carelessly. Local accounts state that more than 4 tons of firework material had been brought in, much of it banned substances such as potassium chlorate mixtures. By 3:10 a.m., the crowd had become increasingly excited as the competition neared its climax. Witnesses described loud, whistling rockets exploding overhead, lighting up the sky. Then a misfire occurred. A high-velocity firework arced unexpectedly and crashed into one of the storage sheds. Within seconds, the shed ignited. A massive explosion followed, described by many as sounding like a bomb blast. The shockwave was so strong it shattered glass windows in homes half a kilometer away. Cement structures on the temple premises crumbled, power lines collapsed, fires erupted across the compound. Fire followed blast, and panic followed fire. Hundreds ran in all directions, many tripping and falling in the chaos. Dozens were burned alive within seconds. Others were struck by flying debris, chunks of concrete, metal shards, burning embers. The first calls to emergency services were made around 3:20 a.m. Local hospitals were unprepared for the magnitude of the disaster. The Indian Navy and Air Force were called in. Helicopters were deployed to evacuate the critically injured to Thiruvananthapuram Medical College. In total, 111 people were declared dead. More than 380 were hospitalized. Burn units operated beyond capacity. Blood donation drives were announced on the radio by 4 a.m., with hundreds showing up at district centers. Even as help poured in, the temple grounds remained a smoking ruin. Volunteers helped collect charred remains, with many victims unrecognizable. Forensic teams and fire investigators arrived by morning. Initial media reports speculated sabotage or terrorist involvement due to the intensity of the explosion. However, forensic reports later confirmed that the blast was accidental but amplified by gross negligence. The investigation revealed that the storage sheds were packed with over 4 times the permitted quantity of explosive material. Many items were smuggled in from illegal suppliers. The contractors failed to follow the Explosives Act of 1884 and the 2008 guidelines for display fireworks. Interviews with workers suggested that shortcuts were taken in the firework preparation process. Chemicals were poorly mixed, storage was done in humid conditions, and warnings of overheating were ignored. 5 people were arrested, including the main firework contractor, Surendran. Temple officials were booked under sections for culpable homicide and causing death by negligence. The case dragged on for years, bogged down by procedural delays. Despite the scale of the disaster, many questioned whether true accountability would ever be achieved. Activists argued that the state had also failed permission denial without enforcement, poor monitoring, and lack of disaster planning for a mass gathering event. Among survivors were those who had lost limbs, eyesight, and family members. Rehabilitation efforts were slow and compensation uneven. Psychological trauma persisted long after physical wounds healed. One mother who lost her son said, "He had just stepped out to see the final round of fireworks. I heard the sound, and he never came back." Others have spoken about recurring nightmares, flashbacks, and the inability to attend festivals anymore. The Puttingal fire acted as a brutal wake-up call. Firework permissions became stricter. Several temple festivals cancelled competitive displays entirely. The Supreme Court of India issued directives to reform firework licensing across all states. However, cultural resistance remains. For many, these events are tied to faith, legacy, and honor. Change, though necessary, is slow. The Puttingal fire was not just a tragic event, it was a turning point, a moment when celebration turned into catastrophe and tradition overshadowed caution. But even in devastation, there is clarity, a reminder that faith must never come at the cost of lives. As we remember the 111 souls lost that night, we must also remember the lesson they leave behind. That safety is sacred, that tradition must evolve, and that every spark of change begins with remembrance. This was Puttingal. Let it not be forgotten. If you found this story meaningful, consider leaving a like, sharing it with others, and subscribing for more historical and investigative documentaries. Thank you for watching.